like the Loki spirit.
Yeah.
The trickster.
Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that. But like this was when I was a child, right? And I would try to explain this to my friends, and I used to call them the little doctors because it was just a few years ago, a full memory of that experience came back to me. It was
You're
almost like I
talking
had
about
it.
the Greys now, right?
The experience of the bedroom in the bedroom.
Yep.
Okay.
So
everything. It was like there was a memory block given to me or whatever. You know what I mean? And I remember a friend of mine had come over to the house, and him and I were talking, and I told him that these little doctors had come, and they had taken me on the ship. They had stuck these needles in my head, and they had shown me the future, and that we all needed to change, or we were going to destroy the world. And I remember telling him, I have to change. And he asked me, he said, well, don't tell anybody else that, because there were other people in the neighborhood that had also had those experiences, and some of them went nuts. They actually went nuts. And again, it's like a secret you have to hold, right? You can't be letting other people know this stuff because of how they're going to react to it. And so I kept this a secret for a long time, except with certain friends that I really trusted. And then it was, there were times I'd be sitting on the edge of my bed watching TV, and I would just black out. And the one that was really profound was that I blacked out, and what I remember is seeing myself in this huge temple, and there was a priesthood. There were like these two priesthoods in Atlantis. I knew it was Atlantis. I had no idea how I knew about Atlantis, but I knew I was an Atlantean. And I'm sitting in this priesthood thing, and it's like they divided us up into groups. There was this guy talking on the podium, and the people that I was sitting with was against him. The people on the other side of the room were for him. And then like a collective, we realized we had been set up. That wherever it was we were trying to stop had been activated. This was like a ploy. And then I remember us all jumping up as a group and running to this room. And as we're going to this room, I see this thing that looks like a telescope set on something that looks like a tripod, but it was hovering off of the earth, like magnetically. And then to our left were these consoles that had these gauges on it. And we all rushed over to those consoles, and we were looking at those gauges. And then we realized we would have to be born during the age of Aquarius to straighten out what we had done during that period of time. And I did all kinds of research on Lemuria, Atlantis, and all this stuff, But it wasn't until I met Ram, who told us about the firing of the crystal into the atmosphere, they called the Great Deluge. And that is what I believed I saw. I saw that because I've had 3 memories of that.
So,
after that time.
So the big flood we had 13,000 years ago wasn't accidental.
No, but the Atlanteans were very aggressive and very warlike. I remember that first one, and then another one, I was looking at it from the spiritual world, I guess. I wasn't in embodiment at that time. I was actually looking down through the dimensions and seeing what my people were doing, and they were on it to attack China. They had taken this same instrument and aimed it at the ground. They were going to blow a hole through the earth, because we had flying ships. We were going to take our ships down through that hole, come up on the other side, and attack China. These are my memories. Okay? This is my story and the memories that I remember. And again, I've had to try to figure this stuff out all of my life. What the heck is going on? What am I being shown? I thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
So then the path that you've taken as far as starting into the shamanism and the Rosicrucian Order and that sort of thing all was an attempt to try to understand these things that happened earlier in your childhood?
Yeah. Like out-of-the-body experiences. Like you asked me a question a while back, what I think consciousness is, right? I think from my own experiences, we are all, how do I say, when you say consciousness, okay, I can only give you an example. When I was like 16, I asked for God to kill me. And I was in my bed, I was praying, and then all of a sudden my body just started vibrating. And the next thing you know, I'm outside of my body. I could see myself kneeling in the bed. I went outside the house. I went outside the earth. And I went to a place where there was like no more planets, stars, moons, like a void. And then all of a sudden I was surrounded by this light, this beautiful white light and this beautiful music. And it said, if you come with me now, you can never go back to earth again. The reason that people suffer is because of ignorance. And then it showed me my life, what they call like a past life review.
Right.
I saw my whole life, and I saw things that I had done in my life that, according to the Bible, were evil, and I deserved to die. And I said, okay, if I'm looking at this, whoever this voice is I'm talking to also see it, and I think it's God, and I want to come back to earth. Maybe I can straighten myself out. You know, it was a trippy existence as a child, having these kinds of experiences. And then somehow or the other, I saw an advertisement for the Rosicrucians, and I wrote them a letter, and I told them that I wanted to know why I was having these experiences. And they sent me a letter back, and in the letter it stated that you were a student of the ancient schools in the past, and you had opened up certain areas of your mind, and you're here to come back into this lifetime to go further than you did in those lifetimes, which was like a relief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I enrolled as a student of the Rosicrucian Order because I was getting some answers. I couldn't find it in the Christian world. You know what I mean?
Really, Billy? You couldn't find it in the Christian world? I guess that's why none of us are Christians anymore. Well, speaking of us three.
Yeah, it's not putting them down. Some of them are very beautiful people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are other answers than just having faith, you know, or putting your belief in some savior or power outside of yourself. I really didn't understand it. I just know that I was having these experiences. No one had an answer for me. I was on my own personal search. I went to college because I wanted to know why the world was messed up. That's why I went to school. I didn't care about the degrees. I wanted to know what was happening with me. Why was I having these past life memories? Why were these beings coming to me? You know, that was my answer as a child.
So you said you wanted to find this stuff out for yourself, and I see that as something that everybody has to do for themselves, is to seek out these answers. It's nothing. It's nothing that anybody can give you.
No.
You cannot go to or Pastor John and say, Pastor John, give me the answer, and him give you a little book or tell you what the answer is, and that be right, because each one of us is a different soul, and each one of us has a different path, and each one of us has a different truth. Mm-hmm. So to be able to reach those truths that have your own truth, you have to seek that for yourself.
Oh, yeah. I think we're all on an individual journey. We're all individual. Because I did go to the preachers, and I did go to my Sunday school teachers, and I would ask them questions, and they would say, it's not for you to know right now. You have to wait until you die, and then all answers will be revealed. Well, I had studied the Bible enough to know the Bible said, knock and the door shall be open. Ask and your questions will be answered. Well, right. I'm a knocking and I'm an answering. Yeah. I want some answers.
Yeah.
You know? So on my individual journey, it became paramount that I find my own truth, that I find my own answers, because mine may be totally, like Tom was saying, we're all different. We're all unique. We're all very unique. And I don't think any one of our experiences would be similar because of our uniqueness. Because what I finally came to the conclusion of, to me as a child, God was an energy. Because how can one being everywhere at one time and know all things? Is he black? Is he white? Is he yellow? Is he brown? Is he tall? Is he fat? Is he short? Is he a Buddhist? Is he a Taoist? You know, through the eyes of a child. You know, God is all these things. I said, well, how can that be? It can only be an energy.
That's
And we are all souls and daughters of that energy.
that's very advanced thinking for a child.
That's what I had to come up with. The only answer that seemed logical.
Yeah, well, you at that time you sounded a lot more logical than the adults for a
Well,
child to come up with something like that. It's
I guess part of that is because my mom, at the time, my aunt, she was really my great aunt. She was a school teacher, so she allowed me to study. I could read anything I wanted to read, and I really love sciences. You know, I still love science. And then you learn about energy, and, you know, it's energy. I don't know. It's just me. You know,
yeah.
that's the conclusion I came to, that God was an energy, and that energy was everywhere and all pervasive. And that I'm made in his image because I am a part of that energy. That's what
Now,
lives in each one of us.
now you've had several experience with later with beings or other creatures of this planet. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Which creatures are you talking about?
I'm trying to remember a story you
The
told me. You
werewolf? You
said
want to hear about the werewolf? Later on is werewolf. I mean, I remember, you've heard about the Anunnaki?
yes.
Okay. One of my memories is that we were almost like Bigfoot at the time. We were these big, hairy creatures, but we were highly telepathic. Highly. And these beings showed up, and I remember I was standing around with a group of us, and there was this really young one with us, and we were watching them take some of our brothers and sisters off, and this young one asked, what are they going to do with us? And we said, they're going to change your hair. Basically, they were going to make these bodies that we now have, right? Basically, that's what's happening. And these beings, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And I saw myself sitting in a chair, like in a laboratory, and there was one lady in specific that was taking semen from me. And behind her were like 6 or 7 other beings. And she said, we're going to make 7 beings from you. And I said, I don't want 7, I want 12. And that kind of shocked her. I saw the look on her face. She was just like shocked that I can even come up with a concept of these numbers. And that's one group I saw. And then later on in my life, after I came here, I used to be real heavy into meditation. And in one of my experiences, I'm in the city, and we have these weapons that look like hollow tubes. And the mission is to get everybody into the city, into the stadium. That's our mission. And there's like a war going on. There's these huge ships over our heads shooting these light balls at us. You know, and they made these sounds. Doo, 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 doo. And you got these little things in your hand, and you're shooting at them. Doosh, 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 doosh. And then we got everybody into this thing like a football stadium. We got all these people in there. And then all of a sudden, this huge mothership shows up. This shows in, shines down this light beam, and this pulls everybody up into the craft and leaves.
Now, is this past life experience you're remembering, or?
It could be, from what I've experienced so far in my life, time, space, and distance, everything, past, present, and future is all now.
Yes.
It's all now. And I've tried to contemplate some of it. I've seen other worlds where these guys were fighting these guys in these huge, these ships go from horizon to horizon. They're huge. And these guys were hiding behind these rocks fighting these beings. And he looked at me and he says, hey, we hear you're having the same problem on your world. How are you people resolving it? And I remember telling him what we have